Hey everybody, it's James, otherwise known as Skate Punk Lefty, moving forward with another video. So, before we even start this video 100% all the way, I want to talk about something that I've been noticing in society a lot and that I have a real freaking problem with over the past couple of years. Trying to cut down on profanity. And that's fake radicalism. So, we have very different political ideologies here, at least in America, but I'm sure these problems exist everywhere, where you have a lot of right-wing conservative and some often at a time white supremacist people that think that by not siding with a political party and not siding with a political label, it absolves them of having a political ideology and from being scrutinized by people on especially the left and liberals for the things that they're espousing. And I feel like the antithesis of these people has been RFK supporters. So lately, a little backstory to me wanting to make this video. I'm in a couple of punk rock groups on Facebook, right? And lately I've been arguing with some dumbasses about is being conservative punk rock and what does it mean to be anti-government. So if you're a leftist, you don't like the government because it upholds things like white supremacy, heteronormativity, the capitalist system that work, sleep, die, consumerism attitude is why a lot of on the commodification of basic services, protectionism by the government is why a lot of left wing people don't like the government. But you have a lot of right wing people out here who are trying to say a bunch of gobbledygook, fake radical bullshit that doesn't make any sense. Where they are trying to say because they are against, quote unquote, political correctness or certain social norms, and it's like, I would say that their political commentaries have done a fantastic job of having these ignorant, self-absorbed people think that because they didn't get vaccinated, because they quote unquote love everybody and don't really want to talk about racism, that the rebranding of Confederate Civil War language that these people use, and they really think for some odd reason that they are radical and against the system when their entire belief system does not challenge the powers that be. And when you actually talk to these people and you ask them what makes them so radical and what makes them so different from a conservative or a libertarian or a white supremacist, they wind up making white supremacist, libertarian, and conservative arguments. It's the craziest thing. So let's go in here.
COVID, they thought they had the keys to the kingdom. They thought they had brainwashed all of us and they were going to be able to shut down society, make remote schooling permanent.
Okay, we coming in hot with some anti-vax bullshit / anti-pandemic bullshit. My video might get flagged, but I don't give a fuck. We can talk about the COVID pandemic in 2020. COVID is a very real thing. I had it before, and that's why after I caught it, and the vaccine came out over a year later, I got vaccinated because this is a real disease that was not only making people simply sick like the flu, but keep in mind, especially elderly people, it was killing people. And society shutting down, one thing I'm getting sick and tired of is people with the fucking easy life, the people whose day is working in human resources, management positions, business owners, home owners, and property owners, people who don't fucking have to work for a living, and even dumbasses that are dumb enough to go along with them, trying to force people not only to work in general, but to go to work during a fucking pandemic where there's a deadly virus being passed around that there's no cure or treatment for, that anybody can catch her at any fucking time. Not to mention, fuck those businesses, even the one I used to work at. Because at the end of the fucking day, I would rather stay at home getting $800 a week rather than go back to a shitty fucking job that pays me, well, at the time at least it paid me less. But, my pay caught up later thanks to the union contracts and stuff like that. That's a whole nother thing. But my point being is that I would rather stay home and get free money during the pandemic than to go to fucking work and get sick, pass that shit on to my family. Like, no. This is the argument of a dumbass or somebody that has never put on a pair of work gloves before.
Bring in central bank digital currencies, get rid of cash. This whole agenda that's kind of been revealed, they thought they were...
What do you mean by digital currency? Are you talking about fucking crypto? Y'all are the crypto movement. See, it's so much dumb shit. See, this is why I don't like people like this. Because we only just started the video and it's so much dumb shit to dispute and to talk around. Because these people really think that they're so radical and against the system. What ain't shit that's coming out of this guy's mouth is challenging any power. It's just conspiracism. It's just conspiracy theories. None of the shit that he just said is important.
We're going to get all of it, but it didn't work because too many people rose up and stopped it. But Big Pharma has been doing these scares for a long time, and when they do that primarily...
Are you going to like nationalize healthcare so it can have further intervention and scrutiny by the government officials that we elect? Because don't get me wrong, I'm against for-profit medicine. But if we don't talk about Big Pharma, quote unquote, in the for-profit medical field, what are we going to actually do about it? But then when you say that, oh, that's just the government controlling stuff, that's communism.
It's pump and dump. It's pump up a stock price, get the federal government to give a ton of money to a big pharma corporation, get that stock price high, get all this vaccine or drugs or whatever out there, try to get as many people to take it as possible. And if they don't take it, they ship it all off to black and brown countries. And if they take it, fine. And if they don't take it, they throw it away. They don't care.
That's not what happened during the pandemic in the distribution of the vaccine. In fact, in most cases, it was free, especially if you had like Medicare and shit like that. It was free. And like, don't get me wrong, my insurance paid for it, but it was free. It was free. Like, what are you talking about?
They've made their money. So I'm not scared of monkeypox, bird flu, chickenpox. I mean, whatever it is they're saying we need to be scared of now, because most of these are really just pump and dump schemes. They're just trying to take public money and give it to Big Pharma.
We will have our new 1776 moment, and we will rise.
Bro, looking at this guy kind of reminds me, because I used to listen to, I listen to a lot of punk rock, bro. You know, especially from the 1970s, 80s, and 90s. You know, my Dr. No, my NoFX, my, JFA, and, Youth Brigade, and, Crass, Conflict, Subhumans, all this stuff. And I used to listen to that, and they'd be like, I hate hippies, yes I do. I'm like, what do you hate hippies for? Hippies are left-wing and progressive, like punk anarchists are. I thought we agreed on everything. But then when you really see these dirty, musty-ass hippies out in public or on these programs like this, and you see the stuff that they think and say, you clearly start to understand why those songs were written.
Is above the low vibration, fear, division, and hate that is propagated by the Uniparty, the Republicans, and the Democrats. My name's Kyle Kemper, child of the earth.
He's a right-wing person. That's something that I like to call, or that's called, you can look at it on Wikipedia, it's called esoteric fascism, where you don't necessarily associate yourself with a movement, but because your esotericism about the way that the world works, you wind up coming to far-right conclusions about the way that the world works and certain policies that should be implemented.
I have a bus called the Kennedy bus.
Oh, wow! Can I hop in?
If you want to be taken seriously by, The Guardian, you want to kind of rise into that.
Big paper, London, 9th largest English language publication in the world, The Guardian.
You need to close a chapter on the ski mask.
No.
Do you guys understand that we're in the year 2024 and we have exponential technologies all around us?
Those of us who feel that way have no home other than Bobby's campaign in this election cycle.
People like yourselves are finally fed up.
My first cause was ending the war on drugs. It started in some part as sort of a selfish thing, right? It was a recognition in my own life of the roles that things like cannabis and psychedelics had played, and how early in my life I realized I had already been lied to about something very deep and fundamental. You can almost look at it like magnetism or something. There's a certain amount of like, and if you can overcome that.
But this is not challenging the power of, because the drug war is being waged by the U.S. government in collaboration with the local police, and there's certain reforms that one party, and it's damn sure not Kennedy, proposes to at least do something about the mass incarceration and unfair scheduling of the drugs in our country. But
that force enough, you can get out of its thrall, its force. You can just outside of the window of that magnet's stickiness, and all of a sudden, it falls away actually quite quickly. But how do you...
Or do you just ask a person like this, and I'll probably never get an answer, why do you think the drug war is bad? I think it's bad because it persecutes people for doing things that they can't help themselves doing. Drug abuse is a medical condition. It's not something that needs a war being fought against it, unless it's going to be like a war on poverty. Two, the drug war has led to a lot of desecration and damage and death and mass incarceration in colored communities. There's reasons to why the drug war is bad, but these motherfuckers like this just say popular things without having an actual reason for agreeing or disagreeing with certain things.
How do you cut through? How do you reach somebody where they're at when they're in such an extreme fear state, and that's holding their worldview in place? We talk about the issues via a specific personality and try to align them as the perfect avatar of issues.
I love this guy right here.
It's one thing I learned about working with Vice President Harris, and she always stand on business.
That whole paradigm is based on identifying the adversary by the worst possible caricature you can point at them. And then as an in-group activity, deciding that that is an accurate portrayal of that other person or group. And then the campaign...
No, if anything, that's a right-wing thing, because it's like, I argue with a lot of like transphobes on TikTok sometimes too. And they will bring me a story about a trans person, most of the time a trans woman misbehaving, right? And they try to paint all trans women as being that way. But we don't really do that to the right. Liberals and people on the left like myself don't do that. When a liberal commentator or a left-wing commentator or a political pundit or person in government speaks about the right wing, they just repeat and say things that they did.
Promises, they never really come deeply into play. And by the way, independents just became, I believe, 51% of the electorate. So we're already the largest voting bloc. The only thing keeping us out is the self-fulfilling prophecy from repeated messaging that there is no chance.
Independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is saying, let's go, holding a fundraiser in Chicago.
My name's Michael Caine. I'm a former New York City public school teacher, but I was fired because I didn't get the COVID shot. And when that happened...
Good. Fuck you. Because, dude, people like you that bring your, like, first of all, you talk about protect and save the children. People like you don't need to be around kids so you can pollute their heads with the same bullshit and garbage and far-right nonsense that you believe. So firing you was a net positive, not only because you're being a fucking plague rat dipshit, but it keeps you away from innocent children.
Happened, the only person who really stuck up for me was Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He backed my lawsuits through Children's Health Defense, and we've been suing for over 3 years now.
You still suing? Damn. You think you would have won one of those lawsuits by now, but it's viable for them to fire you for not getting vaccinated. The jobs can have requirements for you to have certain, like, how is this motherfucker even surviving, bro? Probably just another AstroTurf political commentator.
And it really was an important thing for my family. And when he announced he was running for president, I was all in right away. So that's why I'm here.
Free Palestine in our lifetime. Liberation is coming tomorrow, basically. Yep. I saw you at the protest. Who are you?
Yes, I'm Saddam with Channel 5.
Are you pro-Palestinian?
I'm pro-Palestinian.
Hell yeah, one-state solution. Free Palestine.
Well, Bobby believes in a two-state solution. He believes that there's two people.
Now I'm a one-state solution person.
There with two national identities that both need their rights respected. Yeah, that's his opinion on it.
How do you feel about Trump?
I've never supported Trump or voted for Trump before. Personally, I'm not a fan.
Did Joe Rogan just make an endorsement in the 2024 election?
They do it on the left, they do it on the right. They gaslight you, they manipulate you, they
RFK Jr. and Joe Rogan are both. Joe Rogan is a right-wing commentator. You see the shit I'm talking about, where these people act like they're just so, and you know, Tim Pool bitch ass do it too, where they act like they're so against the darkness and status quo, and they're the person on the outside looking in. But that's not how politics work, bro. Most people, like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people, I'm not gonna even lie, that are politically inconsistent, right? Because you got a lot of people that would be extremely pro-black, but like homophobic. You got people that would be like anti, people that are not anti-homophobia, but they're pro-capitalism. Political inconsistencies exist within most people in America. So you have a lot of people who would then have these political inconsistencies, not even political inconsistencies, these people will actually be politically right-wing consistent, but they will still lie to themselves and saying that they're saying something that we haven't heard Republicans and right-wing people and Nazis say before.
promote narratives. The only one who's not doing that is Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
RFK Jr. then tweeted out that clip, captioning it,
He is promoting a narrative. He is. Every politician that runs for office of any kind is promoting a narrative, bro. I hate this shit where they try to act like they're so innocent and there's never a narrative being promoted, but often of the time there are narratives being promoted.
in part, quote, from one legitimate guy to another, thank you, Joe Rogan, for always putting substance first.
Just 2 hours later, Trump posted on True Social, quote, it'll be interesting to see how loudly Joe Rogan gets booed the next time he enters the UFC ring. MAGA 2024.
He is not as bad as Kamala Harris is. He does respect some of our freedoms and some individual rights that I do appreciate. But, you know, recently it was revealed and exposed in the press that he played a big role in getting $60 billion approved for the Ukraine war behind the scenes, getting congressmen to vote for it. That's not a good sign. That's not a good sign to me for what a second Trump administration.
I mean, it really doesn't fucking matter. Like, I wasn't even listening, so I guess I'll just go for it. I was paying attention to my phone.
Might mean, but there's no question. The biggest threat we have right now is the DNC and Kamala Harris.
Why?
You know what someone told me the other day?
Why is that? Totally not a right-wing person. Totally not a right-wing person, but the biggest threat is the DNC. So you would rather have Trump, an authoritarian fascist, to win over a social democrat, Kamala Harris. Why is that, bro? If you're not right or left-wing and you're so above all the politics and everything, why do you have that fucking bias?
The Kamala, you know what the root meaning of her name is? Snake. Now,
You out of your fucking mind. You racist prick.
I don't know her personally, and I'm not trying to say that, I know her character, everyday life. I don't know that. But I do know anything Democratic, the policies are absolutely atrocious. Okay? Go to Detroit.
Like which, hold up.
Go to the south side of Chicago. Go to Baltimore. Go to some of these Democratic cities that have been run by Democrats for decades.
You racist bitch. I think that's the antithesis of what I was talking about. Because that is the same type of racist dog whistles that your average Republican uses when they want to talk down on black people, because our cities have been run by a lot of Democrats with very little federal help or oversight or funding to help with the problems that we deal with. So I guess I could end this video pretty much here, because that's the antithesis of what the fuck I'm talking about. These people claim to be so against every motherfucking thing, how they are so above it all, but when you actually start to ask them the simplest questions about the things that they believe and feel, you wind up with right-wing political conclusions.